This is possibly the best family hauler that Lexus has to offer. Hello, my name is Jimmy, and welcome to the Canadian Spec 2024 Lexus TX 350 Executive 6-passenger variant, costing 83,600 Canadian loonies, replacing the old RX 350L. And based on the Grand Highlander, 3 rows and plenty of space. That's what you're getting here. So let's take a look a little bit more in depth. Pop open the trunk and we get 20 cubic feet of space behind the third row. Of course, you can fold that third row down with buttons here on the side, and that expands to 57 cubic feet. And of course, if you need even more space, you can fold down that second row and expand your storage to whatever your needs may be. Getting into the third row isn't too difficult. The doors are quite wide and you can press a button right here on the top of the second row seats and they slide forward. Once you're in the back, there's enough headroom, legroom for myself at 5'11". I got USB ports on the side, cup holders. Really everything that you need is here. What I do love is you still get vents for the third row right on the top. As for the second row, headroom, legroom, of course, that's not going to be a problem here. You got shades on the side, USB ports in the middle, climate control in the center here. And you also get heated and cooled seats, which are nice. The seats themselves, you can move them fore and aft. You can even tilt them down if you like. But it's not powered. It's all manual controls, which I prefer because it's just easier and faster. If you're thinking of carrying kiddos in here, this is the best Lexus vehicle really to put them in because there's plenty of seats and there's plenty of space for that. On the driver's side here, this is a Kleckling infant seat. As you can see, I can slide the infant carrier in here with no issues. There's plenty of space and the seat is at a good height where I'm not like hunched over or anything like that. As for the passenger side, this is a Kleck Fünf in rear facing. My child's able to climb in and out without real issues. In front of the seat, there's still plenty of space for someone of my height of 5'11" to be very comfortable. In the third row, this may be a little surprising, is you can fit rear-facing seats, well, behind another rear-facing seat. So if you have a second row rear-facing and third row rear-facing, they still fit within the vehicle. You just kind of have to shuffle things up just a little bit, but it's still, well, spacious enough for that. Aspect here, as this is the 6-passenger variant, you really only can fit 4 car seats in here. But if you have the 7-passenger, you should be able to carry 1 more in the center, making it 3 across. But then getting to the third row will be a little bit more difficult, as what I have in the middle here is just a little tray to organize your things and, well, 2 additional cup holders. As for the front, they're actually pretty comfortable. I got extendable thigh cushions. I got my 4-way lumbar support. Not bad. This Alcantara and leather mix is actually a really nice, well, mixture as well. They're heated and ventilated, but sadly no massaging, which is definitely a feature that, well, are available in some other vehicles. In front of me is your updated Lexus steering wheel. The directional pads, they are blank on the wheel, but when you press your thumb on it, the heads-up display will show exactly what it is, and that's actually customizable as well within the infotainment system. So like right now, what I have is if I press up, I get my automatic climate control on this side. And then on the other, what do I have again? Oh yeah, I have my 360 camera and I have my auto start stop. So it's customizable buttons, which is quite rare and very nice to have. Behind that, you get a full digital cluster. You got 3 styles, 3 customizable places, and 3 different pages so that you can rotate through your customization. It's actually a pretty good implementation, but you do have to be stationary to adjust that information because it's a Lexus. It wants to make sure that you're nice and safe. But what's weird is, in kind of contradiction to that, is, well, the D-pads that's on here, because you do have to like kind of zero in on the heads-up display to see exactly what those buttons are, because you're going to forget. And because there's different pages of them, you might not be on the right page, well, to get the buttons that you want. So it's a little complicated. Kind of like, well, the infotainment system. If you're in wireless CarPlay like I am, it's going to be fine because it's going to take up, well, the vast of the screen. However, when you're in like the Lexus menu, there are things that just doesn't really make sense. And there's just a lot of like features and whatnot that's within. Under like vehicle customization, you can like, there's just so many things in here that you can adjust and do. If you're not going to be playing around with it, it's going to be fine. But if you're trying to remember where to change how the cluster looks it may be a little bit difficult for you to kind of go into the menu system and whatnot and find that info. What you do get on the bottom of the screen is your dedicated climate control. That never goes away, which is nice. So no matter what you're doing, you have access to your temperature and, well, everything that you really need right there. Sure, it's not as good as like dedicated hard buttons, which I prefer, like what you get in the Grand Highlander, but this is definitely more Lexus-fied, let's say. And that stretches, well, for the rest of the interior. Everything's been Lexus-fied. So you got soft touch materials all over. It's quite nice. You do get one scratchy plastic spot up here, also like here, but that's okay. You know, those little places aren't going to matter too much. And what else is Lexus-fied? Of course, door handles. You can't leave door handles alone these days. So you get these powered door handles. I mean, what's wrong with regular door handles? I don't know. But you get power poppers. What's weird is like, not weird, I guess. It's safe. As you're driving along at speed, like you can't open the door. I mean, that's a good thing, but you know, if you're in a Fast and Furious movie, you can't hop out of your Lexus TX. So do be aware of that if you're caught in that situation. Underneath the hood, you get a 2.4 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder. It makes 275 horsepower and 317 pound-feet of torque. Mated to that is an 8-speed automatic and all-wheel drive. You can opt for the TX500H that gives you 366 horsepower, or the upcoming TX550H, which is a plug-in hybrid with 404 horsepower. With the hybrid options, you actually get an electrical rear motor, whereas this, the TX350, you get a drive shaft, which is different. And, well, power-wise, it's sufficient. However, when it's all loaded up with 6 people in here, things may be a little bit more different. That's when you may want that additional power. But what's different is, well, the TX350, because it doesn't have those hybrid components, it doesn't have that, well, lower end torque range. You have to work the engine just a little bit for you to get that power. So, well, throttle response is, well, let me show you. Driving 50 kilometers per hour right now. 3, 2, 1. It takes that second delay and then it gets going. And when it does get going, you don't really get thrown in your seat until another second or so. So yeah, acceleration is good, but when you're accelerating onto traffic, it may just take you a little bit. It's not like the end of the world or anything, but just know that, well, things have a little bit of delay. In terms of the ride and comfort, that's exactly what you expect in a Lexus product. It's smooth, it's very, very soft, but it's still dampened well enough where body controls are limited, so it doesn't feel like a boat. It still has some composure. What I can also say is, being a Lexus product, it's very safe. There's a lot of beeps and boops wherever you go. The most annoying one is like when you're parking and you're close to something. Like when I'm at home and I'm parking in my garage, it can drive you a little insane with all the noises that it makes. However, like when you're starting to use all those electronics, they're all quite good. The adaptive cruise control works well, the lane centering works well. The only thing that I don't like within the Lexus suite of safety is something called, can't remember it, proactive driving assist. If you have that on when you're driving normally like this, it's fine. There's no vehicles in front of me. It's not going to intrude or anything like that. However, if you're behind a vehicle, what it's going to do is, even without cruise control on or anything like that, it's going to brake for you. And it just feels weird because it doesn't fully brake for you where it comes to a full complete stop, but it brakes for you enough where you think, oh, the car is doing something for me. It's a very weird feeling. And I mean, in day-to-day traffic, I kind of just don't want a feature like that. I may have just like my cruise control turned on and it can just deal with like the start stop of, well, bumper to bumper traffic. But the proactive driving assist, it's just a little weird. Oh yeah, and then there's also like cross traffic alert that beeps at you. There's forward and backwards. So if you're at a stop sign, you stop, and then the car is rolling, and then you let off the brake. If the car's like still in front of you just a little bit, the car is just gonna beep at you because that's too close, or it just wants to warn you. Lexus things. And that's really the whole thing here. It's a very Lexus-fied Grand Highlander. It's quieter, it rides softer. I wouldn't say it rides better than the Grand Highlander, but you are getting a more premium product in here, and you definitely feel it because it is quieter on the highway, and the doors even feel heavier when you're opening and closing them up. There are Lexus-y things that may be a little annoying, like the climate control and whatnot, and the Grand Highlander is just a lot more straightforward. That being said, you're not going to get, well, Lexus service quality in a Toyota dealership. You're just going to have a different experience there. And of course, when you're going out in a Lexus product, it definitely looks better than a Toyota, if that matters to you. And that's about it. That's all I really got to say about the TX. It may be a bit bland and boring, but I think this is probably going to be like their second bestseller in their entire lineup, I think. In any case, thank you so much for watching this video. Like the video if you do, subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll catch you next time. Take care.